Have you ever crossed paths with someone who thinks the world revolves around them? You know the type. The ones who push past you, ignore basic respect, and act like rules don't apply to them. Well, I met someone like that in the most unexpected place. An elevator, and what started as a small annoyance turned into one of the most satisfying acts of revenge I've ever pulled off. And trust me, it was worth ever. If you've ever dreamed of serving justice to someone who desperately needed it, you're going to love this story. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Sweet Payback Revenge, and share in the comments below. What's the pettiest but most satisfying revenge you've ever gotten away with? It all began on a Monday morning in a mid-range hotel, the kind of place where the coffee is always lukewarm, and the walls are painted in every shade of beige imaginable. I was there for a work assignment, a week-long grind that left me exhausted before it even began. But little did I know, the real challenge of that week wasn't the meetings or the deadlines. It was one woman who seemed to think she owned the building. It started small. The elevator doors slid open with that familiar metallic chime, and before I could take a single step forward, she was there. No hesitation, no pause. She barreled through like a human freight train. Her heels clicked sharply against the floor, her perfume hit me before she even crossed the threshold. And me? I had to jump back, literally jump back, to avoid being run over. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just a blur of hair, perfume, and entitlement. Now here's the thing, I'm not the type to get easily offended. People are rushed, stressed, distracted, I get it. But what really caught my attention wasn't just her behavior. It was the contrast. Because right behind her, her partner, boyfriend, husband, whoever, actually stopped. He gestured politely for me to exit first like a normal, decent human being. Which told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't about stress. This wasn't about being in a rush. This woman simply believed she was more important than anyone else. Day 2, déjà vu, same time, same elevator, same woman. The doors slid open, and there she was again. This time I felt my stomach tighten, bracing for impact. And sure enough, she lunged forward. But something inside me clicked. Call it irritation. Call it survival instinct. Call it the part of me that was just sick of being invisible. Whatever it was, I wasn't about to let her bulldoze me again. I squared my shoulders, locked eyes with her, and said out loud with all the conviction I had, "Not today." And then I walked. No hesitation, no apology, no shrinking back. I matched her energy and pushed forward, shoulder first. Now, I'm not the tallest guy in the room. At 5 feet 8 inches, I'm used to people towering over me, but let me tell you, momentum is a powerful thing. My shoulder hit her chest and she stumbled. Her eyes widened with shock as she staggered back a step. And me? I just kept walking, the smallest, calmest smile curling on my lips. In that moment, everything shifted. It wasn't just about an elevator anymore. It was about every time someone had cut me off in traffic, every time a coworker talked over me in a meeting, every time I felt like my existence didn't matter in the eyes of people who thought they were better. That single shoulder check carried years of silent frustration, and it felt good. Her glare followed me as I walked away. I could practically hear the unspoken words hanging in the air, "How dare you?" But I didn't flinch, didn't look back, didn't apologize. Just walked on like I owned the lobby. And you know what? For once I did. A few days later I saw her again. Not in the elevator this time, but in the lobby. She locked eyes with me, her lips pressed into a thin, furious line. The kind of glare meant to intimidate, to remind me of my place. But I wasn't backing down. I smiled, slow, deliberate, confident. And the more I smiled, the more uncomfortable she looked. Because deep down she knew. She knew she'd lost. She knew someone had finally stood up to her, and there was nothing she could do about it. That's the thing about people like her. They thrive on dominance, on control, on making others shrink back. But the moment you push back, the moment you refuse to play along, their power crumbles. My revenge wasn't loud or cruel or over the top. It was simple, clean, elegant. I gave her exactly what she'd been dishing out, only this time she was on the receiving end. In life, it's the little victories that matter most. Standing up for yourself doesn't always mean grand gestures or dramatic showdowns. Sometimes it's just one small act of defiance that flips the script. And in that lobby, smiling back at her glare, I realized something: revenge doesn't always have to be big to feel sweet. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and subscribe to Sweet Payback Revenge. And tell us in the comments, what's the smallest act of revenge you've ever pulled off that left you grinning for days? Until next time, stay sharp, stay bold, and remember, karma always finds its way.